Okay, so we just went over the waves of a typical EKG trace. What I'd like to do now is to align that with the conduction of electrical signals through the heart that we talked about last time. Okay, so let's take a look at how those events line up. I want to remind you that in these figures, purple is going to indicate depolarization. Okay. So here, we are going to start with depolarization of the AV node, which then spreads through the atria, okay? At that time, we see the P wave, okay? We're gonna finish our P wave, and after that, we're going to get a contraction of the atria, okay? And that's shown by this red little bar down here. Um, and also notice that when the atria are contracting, we're actually back in a segment. You don't need to pay attention to the name of this segment, but we're basically back at our baseline voltage. So we are contracting our atria after the P wave has happened. Okay. Next up, we have our electrical signal going down the middle of the heart and then up the sides, right? So that is ventricular depolarization. So we can see at the beginning of that, we get our Q wave. In the middle of that, we get our R wave. At the end of that, we get our S wave. So that is our entire QRS complex happening as the ventricles depolarize, okay? All right, once our QRS complex finishes, we have a little segment. Again, don't pay attention to the name, but I want to point out to you that it is kind of after the QRS complex that the ventricles are contracting. Okay, and then finally we have our ventricles repolarizing, and that is when we get our T wave, okay? So I just want to point out, so hopefully this gives you an idea of how that traveling of the electrical signal through the heart lines up with the EKG. I also just want to, again, emphasize this concept that the mechanical events are going to lag the electrical events, right? So we get depolarization of the atria first, and then we get contraction of the atria. We get depolarization of the ventricles first, and then we get contraction of the ventricles, okay? And the reason for that, to reiterate what I said in the last set of lectures, is that it takes a little while to get the contraction to actually happen once you get depolarization, right? So you depolarize the cells in the ventricles, that's the contractile cells. You're going to depolarize them. It takes a while to have all of the like little molecular events happen before you get actual contraction within those cells.